Hello everyone, this is a very simple video to show you how you could put a floating button at the top of your Glide app. So this is a property app and there's properties that you can rent, and like any app, you want to save some properties to your shortlist, for example. And there's a button here that's floating on the top right corner. Once you save properties or you have units in your shortlist, this button is stuck to the top of the screen. And this is very simple to do in CSS. So I have a button here. If I scroll up, it's between this top container and this custom collection. And the button as a class, its class is floating, which I called. If I go to the custom CSS, it's just four simple lines. The first two are just to make it compatible with as many browsers as possible. The important one is the top. You are telling um, the browser that this starts to stick 10 pixels from the top. So if I change this to 0, it starts at the top of its parent. And if I make it 50, it's a bit to the bottom, 50 pixels. I'll keep it at 10. Z index is just give it a high number to make sure it's above all other elements on the screen. And yeah, that's all to make a floating button on the top. You could, it's very useful. So for example, I have another one here, filters. I usually use this. So it shows the filter screen, and then a user, they don't have to scroll back up to the top to access the custom filters. They can do just click here and update the filters, and the collection will be updated. Just one more quick thing that you have to remember is either you place the button on its own line as a div of itself, and that way you can put the floating on the button, or if you put it in a container, then you have to be careful. So you have to put the floating on the container, or otherwise the button won't float. And you have to also update the top because the container itself has a padding on the top. So if I put the button as floating and the container is not floating, I've already defined this class. You can see here this won't work because it's only going to float inside its own container. Let me show you what I mean. I'll put just a random text. This is before the button. And this is after the button, and then I put the button in the middle. So you see it's gonna float over here. And then when the container is finished, the parent is finished, it's not gonna float anymore. So if I go and I say make the entire container floating, I can remove these texts. Then it starts to float. Yeah, just make sure you do that, and it's very simple. CSS, very useful, to be honest. Give it a try.